we're rolling. So, okay, actually, let me light. I have my incienso here. I don't know what you call it in English, but let me light this up and we can start. Oh, bitch, it got in my eye. Anyway, with that done, we can start. So, hi everyone. My name is Milan, Milan, and welcome. This is my first episode, and I will be talking, like you saw in the title and the thumbnail probably, about my high school experience. Okay, so this is how high school broke me. I'm gonna be separating this episode in four parts. I was writing about this and I have my computer on here and I have some notes and I separated everything in four parts. So the first part is the build up. Okay, so a little bit of an introduction. I graduated high school last year and my experience was definitely something. I live in Chile. So people usually don't like transfer schools for high school. Usually you stay in one school from since you're a kid, from where oh my god, I cannot speak. From when you're a kid till you graduate. So I did change schools because I moved when I was like in third grade, but that's not relevant to today. Okay, so I started high school in 2022 and ninth grade or freshman year, and it was the first year out of the pandemic. We were returning to like normal classes, like essential, like in-person classes. So like it was a bit new. Everything was like different from what we were used to, right? And during the pandemic, I struggled with like depression and some like unhealthy behavior surrounding food and working out. But I feel like most people experience the same thing. Like I remember Chloe Ting. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but you know her. I'm pretty sure she was like huge in that era. So I feel like a lot of people had that like motivation to like have a lifestyle change in those years. So yeah, ninth grade in Chile means a lot of things because when you start, we have this thing called NEM, NEM, which is Notas de Enseñanza Media, which is like a GPA for like people in the US or like just like the average of like your high school scores. And this counts as a percentage to like apply to universities. And they take your NEM, they take your college entrance exams, grades, and they take that's it. I mean, the ranking, which is like another thing, but like not relevant. So I was really worried about this because, okay, I was not like a dumb kid. Like I wasn't like doing bad in school. I usually did like pretty good grades. But I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to go to med school. So that meant that I had to like get perfect grades. Like grades go up to 7 here, 7.0. So I had to like have a fucking 6.9 or 7 GPA to be able to get in because you need that and the college entrance exams grades. So it was like really hard and I had a lot of pressure. Um, because at the time my dad was like he wasn't like overbearing about it. He just mentioned to me a couple times like, "Oh, you have to do good, because I want you to be able, I want you to be able to choose what you do for college or like for the rest of your life." And so I got in ninth grade with a lot of fucking pressure. Not only because of that, but I've struggled with anxiety and depression since I was a little kid. So I've been on and off meds. I've been on and off with therapists and psychiatrists. So it's been like a long journey for me. So I had to like low-key ignore those things for a bit so that I could like focus on school to like be able to achieve my dream, right? And on top of that, I was also like coming out, like I was figuring out my sexuality. I was trying to pay a lot of attention in class. I was getting home and I remember having my Google Calendar packed, bitch. Like I got out of school at like 2:30 p.m. and I had like 3 p.m. lunch, 3:30 p.m. study up to like 6:30, and then I worked out for like 30 minutes, and then I kept studying, and then I ate, and then I went to bed. So like I had like my whole life planned, and it was like so perfect and like so exhausting at the same time, but I felt like it was working for me somehow. Like somehow it was working, but it started developing into like an obsession. And instead of like, okay, so like I said, I was like figuring out my sexuality. I was like discovering how I wanted to look, like normal teenage things. And also I was going through like a after breakup situation, which is like a topic for another episode, but it was really rough. So it was like a year of discovering a lot of things, but instead of doing that, I focused only on studying. And like I said before, I got home and I was packed with studying, working out, eating. Because I was, at the time, I was like really like a health nerd. I was like eating whole foods and like healthy snacks and like salads and like really like protein based. Like I was crazy. I was fucking crazy. So that was so exhausting. But I was using all of that to like escape the anxiety and fear and the emotions that I was feeling like a normal teenager, so that I didn't have to deal with them. And so it became like my obsession and like my way of escaping my feelings and my thoughts in some sort of way. Yeah. Okay, and now for a bit of a context on like my friend group, because it's really relevant to the story. Like usually high school is like the time you have with your friends. During the pandemic and before that, I was always friends with boys. I had like a friend group that we like were like four, and we were like, I was best friends with someone, and there was someone that was best friends with another one. So we were together. We were like four, right? And then one friend left the school, and then the pandemic hit, and I was like, still hanging out with the other two, which were like the best friends, and I was left alone because my best friend left. Right. And so we got into gaming. I remember playing Valorant, like the beta with them, and we were like on Discord calls and everything. And during the pandemic, I started realizing like, oh, I'm a little bit more fruity. Like I've always liked like Ariana Grande, for example, but like I've always liked like female singers, and I was like getting into K-pop at the time, so it was like on top of being like feminine, which I wasn't like at all at the time, but for the standard here, I was. Um, I was like getting into something weirder here, so like it was bad for me because my friends started like, how do you say this? We just grew apart, right? We stopped talking, we stopped playing games, and so I was in like an only boys class because then we got like mixed. But before 2022, which was like high school starts, I was only with boys, and when we got mixed, I was like alone, right? Because like my friends weren't there, and but I started meeting the girls, the girlies, and I started hanging out with them, and honestly, love them, like love y'all. I met my people, some of my people. And so yeah, I was feeling really lonely. I felt like I didn't really have a place to go for help or like for anything, because my last friend group dumped me. My boyfriend at the time dumped me. Oh, and my last best friend, that was a girl, we had a fight. So socially, I was like really awkward, and with all the things that I was going through in the sense of like studying all day, I was not hanging out with anyone. People in my class, like my friend group, was hanging out every fucking Friday with like the people above my grade, like so 10th graders. They were throwing parties and going like out, and I wasn't going because first of all, I was scared, and second of all, I was like using the study excuse like, oh, I have to study because like I really have to like get good grades, I want to be a doctor. um So yeah, I had like no socializing except for like my besties that I saw at school. Like I wasn't like really alone, but I felt alone. You know what I mean? It's like completely different things. And I do still talk to like my best friends. And I see my other friends like that are part of the friend group sometimes, but it's not the same, right? Um, and that's basically ninth grade. I mean, I was looking through my phone to like see what I was doing, like what was happening in my life at the time, and it's only fucking notebooks and like notebooks, notes from classes, pictures of tests, pictures of whiteboards of teachers. Like my life was literally paper, paper, a pen, and like coffee. That was my life. And I regret that a lot. Like looking back, I see how harmful that was, not only for myself, but like for my friends too. And I really regret doing that, like isolating myself, because um I felt like I lost so many memories that they have together, and I don't because I wasn't participating, obviously. Um, but yeah, at the time, I didn't see that as like, oh, I'm making memories with friends. I was like, no, I need to study because of my future, blah, 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 blah. And the year ended. Like, literally, I have nothing else but like context to like develop the story to say. So the year ended. I ended with a 6.8 out of 7 GPA, which honestly, I was gagged. Like, we started taking science classes in ninth grade, so biology, physics, and chemistry. Bitch, I was struggling with chemistry and physics, but I still somehow got a fucking almost perfect GPA. I was so proud of the time. I remember the first time I got a 7, which is like an A plus. I cried. Like I was like walking with the paper folded, and then I got to my desk and I opened it and I started bawling because I saw a fucking A plus and I was gagged. Anyway, but the year ended, nothing happened. Everything started getting worse progressively. So everything was like more strict and like more studying. I was just like extremely obsessed with it, and like I had only eyes for that. Only. Like that was the only thing in my life. And then we get into like the summer, which not a lot happened. I always loved like holidays, like a summer break, because it's like a time to like literally just do anything. But at that time, I was like, hold, what am I gonna do now? Like, I'm not studying, I don't have like school. Like, what am I gonna do? And like I said before, I got into K-pop in like 2020, so I started learning the choreos, and I was dancing, and I like I said before too, I was like a health nerd. I was like eating good and like working out a lot. So on top of that, I was dancing for hours a day. So eventually it just made like like eating behaviors like really fucked up, and I was like really struggling with like self confidence, and like it wasn't a good time, okay? But I used my summer break to like dance and to like listen to music, and I started like liking the music videos. I was like watching them on repeat. I remember, I mean, well, Luna is my favorite group. So I was watching their music videos. I was like watching the lore videos. I started getting like this interest for art and how you can put your imagination to work. Like you can, oh my god, how do I say this? I was really appreciating how you could like turn an idea you have in your head into like a project. That's how I was seeing like K-pop and like music videos and music in general. Because I was like, the writers have an idea and they listen to the music and then they blah blah blah, and I was like obsessed with it, right? And it was really lovely. I loved it. But then we got back to school, so 10th grade. Okay, so intermission, I guess. One file got deleted. So I was editing and like I was missing this part of the story, which is 10th grade. So let me just get into it. right? Okay, so basically, as I said, like the whole year was the same shit. And like in the summer, I started like trying to find new hobbies because like I needed to use my time with something. Like I had nothing to do, right? Okay, and then we go back to school. And the school year starts, and I start like getting back into this grind mindset and like being productive and like doing all these things and studying and working out, blah blah blah, all the things I said before, right? But something started in me that like questioned everything in my life. So like I was like not sure if I wanted to go to med school. I wasn't like happy with how I was living. Like studying all day wasn't like fulfilling me. I was doing nothing else was but studying to avoid processing all these things that were happening to me. I wasn't socializing, so like everything was really bad. And on top of that, like I said before, I was like figuring out my sexuality and everything. And I wanted to come out because I wasn't feeling comfortable in my own home. I felt like I couldn't be myself. So after talking with my therapist about it, and trying to get help from others, I did come out to my mom. I mean, I did come out to my mom before my dad because my dad was like the issue here. Because okay, he's not like super homophobic and everything. He's like really conservative, and like his family comes from like a really conservative background. So like, there's a reason for it, you know. But it was really hard for me because I'm like really different from all of that. So it was like rough, and like I was trying to find the words and the courage to like talk to him and tell him this, right? But yeah, it was really hard, and I remember the year started, and I got like, I think 2 weeks went by before I came out, and honestly, it was like so nerve-wracking, like nerve-wracking. I was like anxious, and I just wanted to say this because like I don't know, at least for me, coming out like was like more of a thing I did for myself. Because I wasn't like feeling comfortable at home, like I said. And I wanted to like be able to like feel relaxed and like be able to be myself with my family. So yeah, and that's how it started. And then basically, like the whole year, like the 4 months that went by after March, um, we're the same shit. We're studying, we're working out a lot, eating healthy, cooking meals, sleeping, taking care of myself in the sense that of like I don't know, I've always been into skincare, so like skincare was a must. And like, I don't know, it was the same routine as the last year, so I really don't have a lot to say about this. More than about the first half, so this half of the year was me realizing that I wasn't happy with how I looked. I wasn't feeling comfortable, and I think my issue was I didn't know what I wanted to be because so my idea of becoming a doctor and everything came from like wanting money and like being able to afford things and being like recognized by society or by like my circle of like, oh, you're doing something good and like something that's gonna give you money and that's gonna make you stable and everything. Because like I don't know, at least in Chile, when you get into like high school, everyone starts asking like, oh, so what are your plans? What are you gonna go to school for? All sort of things like that. And in my mind, it was easier to say, oh, I want to go to med school than like than like saying, I don't know yet, like I'm confused, like I don't know what, right? So yeah, I think I started realizing how I created a persona of myself that really wasn't me, that didn't represent who I was, what I wanted, and what I was capable of doing. I think I said that right. Anyway, but yeah, and I started like trying to like express myself more. I was like buying accessories and like getting into clothing. Because like I used to wear like whatever clothes. Like, I mean, I think we all like follow the trends at some point. Like, I remember the visco era, like I can't remember, but like the visco girl era, right? Um, and I was like low-key into that, but then I was like, when this hit, like when I started like exploring, I was like, what I wanna look like, and I started like, I don't know, like black clothes were like my thing, so I started buying like black clothes, and like, I don't know, just experimenting with everything, and I used to wear like some things that were really messed up, but like here we are now, so that's it. And honestly, I think that's literally all I can say about this semester, because like again, I went through my photo photos, nothing, nothing. I do have to say, I think I went to like a party at the beginning of the year, which was like my first party ever. Because like, okay, I have this mindset of like, okay, I'm not gonna like do drugs, not drugs, but like alcohol. I'm not gonna drink alcohol until I'm 18. I'm not gonna like vape or like smoke or like do anything because like my health and everything, right? Because I, like I said before, I was like super focused on health and like well-being and everything. And so going was low-key like really hard because I was like, oh, I'm not, I cannot speak. I'm not hungry. Oh, I'm not hungry. No, thank you. Because, like, at least here in Chile, and I'm pretty sure all over the world, to be honest, but like drinking is like a big thing. And especially my friends or like my classmates, they, oh my god, I don't know how they did it, but like they were drinking so much and like blacking out and all that thing. Like, I don't know. Like, low-key, I'm glad I never experienced that much. I mean, that level of alcohol consumption, but yeah, and like my friends at the time didn't smoke. I mean, I think there was like this huge vaping resurgence after the pandemic, so like everyone was vaping, but I was like, oh no, thank you, like I'm not hungry. So yeah, drugs weren't like a part of my life at that point, and but it was like really fun, and I liked it. I liked it, and I set a goal for myself that year, and it was going out more and like saying yes to things, to plans, to going out, because I realized, okay, I'm like not that awkward, like I'm not making people uncomfortable, I'm feeling good, like it was something good for me. So yeah, I started the first half of the year the same. I had some different mindset shifts, like going out more, taking more breaks, but everything started to like crumble because like it wasn't sustainable. It wasn't a lifestyle that I could keep going with for years. Maybe for like a year, okay, like if you can do it for a year, gag it. And if you can do it for more, like gag it. But like I couldn't. It wasn't for me. So that's it. And I ended up the first semester feeling really burnt out. Um, um, I just remember being like tired all day, being tired, being grumpy. I used to get into like arguments with my mom and my dad and like my sister all the time. Like I was like stressed the whole day because I was like, oh, I need to study, I need to do this, I need to do great in like tests. But at the same time, the work was paying off. Like I was getting really good grades, and I ended up graduating with a 6.8 GPA out of 7. So like at some point it really worked out, but like it wasn't the way, like I knew I could do better in the sense of like taking care of my mental health, but I didn't want to accept it because like all of this persona and all of these actions were like a way to mask everything that I was feeling, because I was scared of what people would say if I didn't get into med school. I was scared of what people would say if I straightened my hair, if I painted my nails, if I did makeup, if I like dated a boy. Like everything was like focused on what other people thought of me. And I used to say like, oh, I don't care, I don't care. But like I cared so much to the point of me missing out on things because of the fear I had of other people judging me. But yeah, and we ended the semester like that, and that's like the first chapter. That's what did I name it? Hold, the build up, and after the build up comes the realization. And honestly, this next chapter is like really important for my life, but I feel like it really makes sense like as to why things happen. I don't know. I have like my motto used to be like everything happens for a reason, right? And like now I don't think it's like that literal. Like I don't think everything happens for a reason. But there are some things that happen for a reason, or at least that's what I think. And like there are things you can do, but there are things that are out of your control and that you cannot manage. And that are like yeah. So yeah. Yeah. I'm like out of words because like the next chapter is everything. So let's go back to the other setup. Until during winter break, my grandparents always had like the dream of like taking us to like on a trip, like to travel with their grandkids. How do you say that? Grandson? Whatever. With us, their family, okay? And so they had been working for years. They're retired and they saved up some money and we went to France. And honestly, it was like the best gift I could have ever asked for. Because, okay, so at the time I was like, oh, like Paris is so romanticized that of course I was fucking excited. How could I not be, right? And but I remember see watching them be so proud and like happy for what they did um was so fulfilling, and I felt so happy myself for the opportunity that I had because it's a it's something you have to value. I don't know. I personally love like international shit, like other cultures and languages, like lovely. Um, so yeah, it was like a really good trip, and I remember going to museums, and like walking around the city. Like that was it for me. And you can talk shit about it, and if you probably live in Paris, like of course you're not gonna love the city. But I don't live near the city in Chile, so um, this was like all new to me. And honestly, I was fucking gagged. I remember like walking around and like the streets were so beautiful and like the construction was so old but so maintained, and like there was still some like resistance from the people. Like you could tell people like express themselves there, like politically, like romantically, like however you want to say it or see it. Um it was so different from what I was used to because I remember one time we were walking on a bridge that took us to like the next street, right? And I remember seeing a pride flag, which is like a nothing burger thing now. But at the time, I was like so gagged of like, I was like, you can like display this in public? Because here, okay, it's like not penalized or anything. And it's actually like legalized that like union civil, which is like basically marrying your partner, like same sex partner. Um, but I wasn't used to that. I didn't grow up watching queer people on my screen, or like black people, or like different people from different cultures. Like I literally discovered what other people look like, basically. So I felt like, wow, there's somewhere I can be myself. Like it's okay to be you. And that was such a like a crazy thing for me. And walking around, like I remember going to the Louvre. I'm sorry, I literally cannot pronounce the name since I went, and I was trying every day. Louvre, the Louvre, Louvre. You get it. Like I'm so sorry, French people, but I can't. Um, and I was like, I went with like what, 8 people, like my family. Um, and I wanted to stay for so long. Like I was looking at every art piece, like I was like mesmerized and like looking at them and like feeling and like watching, and like I was so in the moment. And honestly, everyone wanted to leave and I was like there, no, like please can we stay longer? Like I was in love with it. And then I started realizing like, what if I like art? What if I like I don't know, paintings, or like designing clothes, or like something related to art, like graphic design, or like music? And I started questioning myself. So when we got back home, I low-key had like a crisis. I started skipping school because I was like not happy with my life. Like this was not what I wanted at all. Like at all in life. And I basically um was skipping every Friday and maybe a Monday. Like Every Friday was like, I mean, I wasn't going any Fridays, okay? And of course, parents were worried. Like, my therapist was like, what's happening? At the time, I didn't really know what was happening. I like didn't know how to express it because it was such a weird feeling of like feeling lost and feeling like you don't know what you want to do with your life. That sounds like depressing, like depression, but like it wasn't like that. It was just like questioning what I'm doing with my life. Okay. So I started looking into art again because, like I said before, I was really liking looking at music videos and like looking at photo shoots. So I started doing that again on my free time. I started studying less, working out less. I started like trying to like focus on this something that it piqued my interest, and I started following like fashion pages, like art pages, like photographers that worked on albums, and I started discovering new music. Like I don't know, I fell in love with it again, and I started remembering how when I was a kid, I used to draw wedding dresses, thinking about my mom getting like remarried, like celebrating the marriage again. So I was like, oh, drawing dresses in school, and it was such like a raw emotion, as in like I was designing something for her. I don't know. It was like so crazy to remember that because I started remembering like, oh, I watched a lot of fashion shows with my mom, like Project Runway, and there's this other show that I don't remember the name of, but I'll put it here. Um, and honestly, I was like, oh, okay, so maybe fuck this doctor shit, fuck this med school, fuck my grades. Like, I don't care. Like, I don't know what I want to do with my life. Like, I don't know where I'm like standing right now. So like, fuck y'all. And things started going downhill. I'm gonna read something that I wrote because I feel like I put it so beautifully, or like I explained myself so good. So, start quote. I was tired and mad at the system, having to fucking devote your life to books and school in order to become something in life, to be successful, or to have a fucking stable income and live a good life. At least here in Chile, and I think everywhere to be honest, not studying, not going to college, pursuing art, or things that are in the norm is so criticized and talked shit about that I was so scared of taking that path. Honestly, wow. Like, fire pen. So, the year ends and I start questioning everything again. Like I said, everything went downhill. Um, I felt like nothing made me happy. I had this feeling that I couldn't shake. Like, what am I gonna do? Because all I knew was a book, a pen, and a fucking dumbbell. That was like literally my life. I had like I said before, I wasn't going out with friends. I still talked to them, but like that was not a part of my life. So I had to like grieve my past self because I didn't want it anymore. So I had to like try to get that mindset, that grind mindset, or like that obsession over what I was doing. I had to like break up with that because it wasn't healthy. I wasn't happy, and I was trying to figure out what really made me happy. And then we get to the crash out, chapter 3. Okay, and for this part, let me say you down. Take a breather. I'm gonna be talking about like depression and anxiety, so like mental health issues, okay? So like if this isn't for you, girl, you can watch another video, like I don't know. But like beware, okay? During the summer, I had so much free time, and with this emptiness I had, I started struggling with food again. My life started shifting from school to my body because I always felt uncomfortable in my skin. I used to have like really curly hair and like it was really dry and it was low-key like I don't know what genes I have that gave me like such a curly hair, and it was like not an afro, but like it was like puffy. Okay, so I wasn't happy with how I looked. I felt like ugly face wise, hair wise. I hated everything about me. So I was like, let me try to build my body like I can at least have a good body if I don't like my face and my hair. So I started obsessing over working out and eating clean and eating like only like natural stuff. And like since I was a health nerd, I was like, oh, I can only eat these things and these amount of meals a day. Scary. Um, so like everything went downhill. We know how that ends, right? And then summer, I mean that was basically my summer. I was like the skinniest I've been like forever. And I mean, you can look at it like something natural that happens when you like obsess over your body, but I wasn't like happy. I wasn't like something that fulfilled me or that it was natural. I was like going out of my way to look the way I look, right? So it's like sometimes I miss that body, but I'm like, do I miss that body? I mean, is it worth getting that body again to feel how I felt at that time? And the answer is no. So we're happy now. So with this came a lot of issues, of course. Um, I started getting sick all the time. My immune system, I think that's how you say, was shit. Like I was getting sick every week. I was not recovering. I was barely sleep. I was sleeping, but I was sleeping so bad. I woke up so tired and like my whole body hurt. So like it wasn't good. I had no energy throughout the day. I was like working out and then laying in my bed watching videos. And like that, I mean, what else do you do in summer? But like, I wasn't hanging out with friends. Um, because like, of course, you what do you do in summer break? You hang out with friends, but I wasn't. And at the time, I had sold my PC because okay, I've been a gamer for like a gamer since I was a kid. Like I remember playing on my dad's PS2. Like I've been playing games since I was a kid. Um I had the Nintendo 3DS, the Wii. Like I love video games, but when I started like getting obsessed with school, I sold my PC that had like literally worked for um I like my aunt's workplace. I was like saving money for it and I bought it and then I sold it. So I had like nothing to do, like nothing. So I had no hobbies. I was struggling, like mentally. I wasn't fueling myself properly. Everything was bad. Everything was bad. And on top of that, I mean, this is 11th grade, right? Um, so the next year I was going to have to take the college entrance exams. So that meant everyone, including my friends, including my classmates, everyone was getting into preuniversitarios, which is like places that prepare you to take the test. Um, and I wasn't, because I honestly couldn't gaff, and didn't have the energy to like keep studying, and I wasn't interested at all. Like I had like a trauma with it because I honestly like could not be bothered to. And I was so scared of falling into that deep hole again of like studying and studying and studying that I couldn't. I couldn't. So that was my summer. And then we get into like first day of 11th grade, right? And I didn't know how to approach school in a way that wasn't like studying every day and like paying attention in class and like taking notes. And I remember sometimes I used to stay in the classroom in like breaks during the breaks we had in the day to like read my notes again and like see if I had everything I needed and like ask the teacher if I had to ask them. Like I was fucking crazy, okay? Because this wasn't natural. I mean, if you do that naturally and if you're that kind of person, like got it. I don't know, like that's you, but I wasn't like that. I I think I'm smart, okay? Like I didn't do bad, but like the way I was approaching school and studying wasn't healthy. So going back to school meant I had to go back to that lifestyle. And I was so scared. I literally did not want to go to school because of that. But I did. And I started going. And I was trying to pick up the pace. Like I was like, okay, I can do this for 1 more year, or like 2 years. Like I'm almost there. But I wasn't. Of course I wasn't. So um I think I lasted like 2 months in school. Until I remember there was this like one hangout with my friends. Cause um that was like my goal for the year, like hang out more with friends. So I started doing that more regularly. But that one hangout made me like crash out. Um, so okay, like allegedly, people here drink when they're underage, right? And I was in meds at the time, so um, I don't know if it was that fucked me up, cause like I allegedly had alcohol, but like I I had this feeling of like, what the fuck am I gonna do with life? Like, and since I was like so skinny and like so um I don't know, obsessed with health. I remember like my we ordered pizza and of course I ate like one or two slices. But then I was like stress eating at the fucking hangout, which is like okay, like whatever. If you eat a lot, like girl, you do you. I'm like, eat, girl, you better eat. But I remember going home and being like, my life's a mess. Like I'm gonna die. I mean, not that I wanted to go. No, not that. I didn't want to self exit. Okay, I was like I had like my chest was like tight and I was like so anxious and like I couldn't stop thinking and like the world's gonna end, right? But it didn't. But it did start like, how do I say this? I don't know. I don't know how to say it. But like I crashed out, right? And I started skipping school. I think I literally didn't go. I think I went like for what? One more week and then I literally stayed home for like the rest of the year. Of course, I was like there's this thing where you can like freeze a semester in school. So I did that because I was like not like open to go to school because I was like really struggling mentally. Like I couldn't even like get out of bed some days. So I was depressed. I was dealing with my anxiety on top of that. I remember my therapist telling me like I literally don't know how else to help you, so I'm gonna have to like take you to another therapist that might help you. So my therapist dumped me and I was like, oh, how fucked up I am. Like, am I? Like, is it that bad? But yeah, I went to like three other therapists. I switched psychiatrists. I started taking new meds and like I started like working on my mental health and I was stress eating most of the time. I gained a ton of weight, which was for myself at that time. It was like horrid, like it was like a nightmare. But now I see it like as only natural. You're depressed. Like, what are you waiting for? I mean, what do you expect? And honestly, that was the whole year. I didn't go to school. I did have to like do some projects for like some grades, of course, because I only freezed one semester. But I wasn't making a lot of progress, I realized. And I was really scared because, again, 12th grade meant taking my college entrance exams. And basically, the whole year, at least in my school, was preparing for that moment. So I was like really scared, and my friends were like going out again. And I felt more lonely than ever. Like, I remember I sometimes had to go to school because I still had to like turn in projects or take tests, right? And I remember this one time, so like I said before, I was struggling with like self-esteem and everything. Um, I said before that I had curly hair, right? So there was this one morning that I had to go to school and I was like feeling so bad about myself. So I literally grabbed my mom's iron, like flat iron, and I straightened my hair before going to school. Cause I was like, let me try this. Like I've never tried this. I'm tired of my fucking curly hair that I cannot manage. And like I wasn't taking care of it. It looked horrible, whatever. And I did it and I was feeling like cotton. Like I was like, God, this is a gag, right? So I went to school that day and everyone was like, what the fuck? Because I was known for my curly hair, but I was feeling myself with this new style, right? So I started experimenting with myself, with how I looked. Um, but I didn't really make any progress this year, so it was low key a nothing burger. And yeah, that was like the first step of like becoming, or of like healing, if you want to call it that. Was, I don't know, like building up the courage to do something different with myself. Yeah. So at the end of the year, which is like November here. Um, so my birthday is November 20th. So I was like really lonely. I didn't even like invite my friends over. So my birthday was staying home and basically doing nothing. And one of my friends, I remember, I will always remember that from her. She visited me because she was worried and she brought me like a cake. She was like, "Happy birthday," of course. And we hung out for a little bit. I don't know, that was really special. But that was one of the moments that I was like, wait, maybe people like me. Maybe I'm not as different and like as fucked up as I think. Which honestly, there were clues. Like I was the guy. I was in the students council. I was like the class president, which like manages some things. I was like the top grades. I mean, the guy that had the top grades. Everyone looked at me like I wanted to be perfect, right? And I was perfect at some point. But then I disappeared and I wasn't anymore. So I didn't want to show myself not being perfect because that's the only thing I knew how to show myself like. Anyway, let me go back to my point because I low-key started talking about something that wasn't related. But so during like November, December, I started gymming because I was like, I mean, my therapist was like, okay, we need to do something for your health, but not because I was like overweight or anything. It was like for like mental health and physical health. Because like low key, working out is so like helpful for your like mind. I don't work out now, but like it really helped me at the time. So I was gymming, and since I had like this new breath of air, I was like, okay, I can do this shit. So I started like looking again to like fashion magazines, and I started following fashion accounts on Instagram and TikTok, and I started like watching fashion shows and watching music videos look like for inspiration. I was getting into makeup because I had a lot of acne at the time. So I was like, how can I cover this? Makeup. So I was like taking steps to like find myself, and I straightened my hair. Like I got a straight perm for the first time that year, and I was feeling myself. Like I was like, this is who I want to be. Like I'm finding something here that I enjoy. So we get to the last chapter of this video. The healings are coming now. So we get to 12th grade. During the summer, I continued this like art spree that I was doing, like this crash course on art and fashion. I started watching Drag Race, and it was fun. Like it's a fun show, but I was like looking at the outfits, at the lip syncs, at the dancing, because I forgot to mention, but during the pandemic, I think I said it though, but like I started learning the choreos, and I actually at my school's talent show, I danced with two of my besties to Step Back from Got the Beat. And then okay, let me not spoil, but I was dancing during the summer again. I started watching more fashion content. I was getting into new music, like new artists, and looking at their work. I started listening to like a little bit of everything. Um, I got into FK Twigs, which I have Usexual's logo tattooed on my arm. Um, and I felt like I said before, this fresh air. Like there was something in the air that was like, you got this, Milan. Like you can do this. So we get to school, and I had to start going. Like, of course, like I can't like fuck this up, right? But I sort of kind of did. I think I was so nervous with my new self that I didn't want to destroy this idea of Milan being perfect to the others, right? Because that was how other people saw me in my mind. Sorry. They could only see me as like the good grades guy and the guy that is gay, but it's like not feminine and that isn't to like the gay shit. Because that was what I was trying to get, right? But I had like a new mindset surrounding school, which was not studying as much, not getting into a pre-universitario because I had to take the college entrance exam that year. Um, not getting into like any preparation for that, just attending school, paying attention to classes, um, getting through the year for myself because I wanted to graduate. I did not want to have to like retake 12th grade. And things were rough. It was really hard for me because I was still struggling. I was getting better, but it was still a hard time for me. I remember I had this class, this like optative class. What do you call this in English? Well, the classes you choose, okay? And it was called Estética, so aesthetics, right? And I was like, this sounds interesting. And usually with electives, people like show their work to the school in like the hallways and everything. So I saw some work they did like the year before, and I was like, let me get into that. And honestly, oh my god, what a fucking class! I think if you have the opportunity to like learn about like the aesthetic experience, I don't know how to say it in English, but in Spanish is la experiencia estética. It's such a like an essential thing to life, at least for me. And it really changed my life. That class. Because at the beginning of the year, since I was so interested in art and in fashion and everything related to that, and like the music industry, and like I don't know, I love that world. I was considering majoring in design because here in Chile, at least, I mean, I'm not really sure how it works in the US, but like you enroll to like one career. So like you go to uni for engineering or music or architecture. You don't major or minor in anything. That's like after you finish the first run of college, right? So I was considering going to art school basically or like majoring in design. So this class really helped me with that, and I was 100% sure that that's what I wanted with like to do for the next years. And I will never forget the last project I did for that class. We had to create a collage of like your inner self, about how you are, like your position in the world, and how you feel, your emotions, what has like impacted you in life. And okay, so I really took like a pop culture emphasis. This was my okay, I'm showing it on the screen for those watching, but this was my last project, and I could like rant about this project because everything has a meaning, and yes, it has like a lot of references to music videos and things I love and some runways. But it's more than pictures for me, you know. I Everything was intentional. The placement, the colors. I don't know. I could rant about the project forever, but making that project, I felt like fulfilled, and I was like, this is what I want to do in life. And so I decided on what I wanted to go to school for, and basically the next months I spent just going to school. I still skipped some days, and I was like missing like a 2% of like a 2% assistance to like graduate, so I had to like go. I had no option, and at that time my school and like my classes were only focused on the PAES, which is like the college entrance exam. So it was like really stressful because I wasn't like in a universitario, which is like the thing that prepares you for the exam. Everyone was, and everyone was so worried, and everyone was like talking and yapping about like, oh, I'm so stressed because I need to do good and blah blah blah. And I was like literally there because I had to be there. So it was really hard, and I started getting better mental health mental health wise, yeah. So everything was looking better. I got like diagnosed with like ADHD basically. So I started taking meds for that, and that like fucking changed my life. Like I could do things, and I think that's it. Oh, I just read on my notebook something that I forgot to mention. Um, my last project for aesthetica, the class that I took, it got lost at school. I only have pictures of it, and honestly, I was so heartbroken. But at the same time, I thought it was poetic. I don't know why. I thought it was like you can work so hard for something that can go away just like that, but you are gonna have like the feeling and the you're gonna feel proud for making it. I don't know. I'm like that kind of guy that like believes in like everything happens for a reason. Although I used to be like super hardcore about it. Now I'm like I see there's a bit of nuance to that. You know, like it's not like everything, but some things happen for a reason. And I saw it as that. But yeah, the school year ended. Um we were we stopped having to go to school in October, in September. So we had in October. So we had November free because we were taking the exams on December. So in November, I had this feeling of freedom. Freedom was here, was in my hands. And I don't think I've ever felt that good because I was like, I went through so much. I went through so much and I made it. But yeah, I felt proud of myself. And I was scared because of the exams, but I got into a pre-universitario. I fell into the trap because I was doing really bad in math. Like my first trials for the exam, I was getting like 450 out of 1,000. Like I was doing really bad. And I ended up getting 978 out of 1,000. Thank you, Preo. Um, but yeah, I remember during November, it was my birthday. I didn't feel like celebrating with friends. I celebrated with my family, and the week prior to that, I went to the beach for a couple days with my mom because it was like the only thing I asked my parents to do for me when the year started. Like I need a week or a couple days off so that I can like refresh my mind and take my exam. And so it was like one night, 2 days, and honestly, it was so good. And then we took the exam, and then in like early December, we had our graduation ceremony. And honestly, it looking makes me emotional to think about it. It was the last time I saw my friends and my classmates at school, and I don't know why it was so emotional to me, but I low-key felt like I was living that moment outside of my body, like I was expectating myself and the others there. Yeah, and I was so happy. I think I was so proud. I was so fulfilled of like getting through this. Um and then we got this course for I mean like at this point that's the story time. Like that's the episode. But yeah, after the ceremony we like had to wait like a month, which is fucking crazy. It's way too much time. But yeah, we had Christmas and New Year's in between, and then in January we got the results. And I remember that day, I didn't even wake up at the time that the results were out. Wait, where's my? Okay, here. I didn't even wake up at the time that the results were out, which like everyone does because it's like the anxiety of it. And I think I woke up like 1 p.m. and my mom was like, I already saw your results. Because she was like really anxious, right? Like, of course, you want to know how your son did. Um, and I gagged myself. Like I said before, I got 978 or something like that out of 1,000 in math. And math is like my worst subject, but I was only studying math. And the other ones I did like good, like acceptable, but I think I saw how capable I am of doing something when I set my mind to it. And yeah, that's basically the story. And then I enrolled to uni and I'm officially a clothes design major. Yeah, so that's it. I do want to mention that I know my experience doesn't speak for everyone's. You can resonate or not, but I just wanted to like, I don't know, tell my story. Like I'm doing this for myself more than anything, and I will probably upload a couple more things. So if you have ideas, suggestions, anything that you want to tell me, tell me. And yeah, what else can I say? But yeah, thank you so much for watching. And if you take something from this episode, honestly, believe in yourself. Like, you can get through everything. And even though right now, like, I'm not doing like the best I've been, but you will never be perfectly ready for something. You just have to try and be there and challenge yourself. Because if you don't challenge yourself, you'll never know what you're capable of achieving. And I think Pink Panther said this, but like, you have to live with the doubt. If you don't live with the doubt, you don't know what you're gonna get, right? And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Love you guys. And this was the first episode of Mimi's podcast. I actually don't know what I'm gonna name the podcast, but for now, it's gonna be like Milan's podcast or like Mimi's podcast. I don't know. We'll see. Bye bye.